Are you a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is a premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and Self-Storage Unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Good afternoon and happy Thursday, self-storage industry. Thank you for joining the Storage Business Owners Alliance, better known as the SBOA, our webinar series that we call Self-Storage Unlocked. And today our topic is all about how you can enhance and upgrade your facility without breaking the bank and spending lots of money. So before we dive into today's content, I'm Jessica Johnson. For those of you that don't know me, I am the Vice President of the Storage Business Owners Alliance. And we've got some really great speakers joining us today. Just want to go over a few housekeeping items for you. In the comment section, that's where you'll be able to ask the speakers and myself questions that you have. So please type in your questions in the comment section and drop us a line, your name and where you're from. We would love to say hello to you. And then also on the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a polls section. During today's webinar, while you're listening, if you could just take a moment and answer those poll questions for us, it just helps us to get to know you better and how we can better serve owners and operators in the industry by figuring out different programs and services that will help enhance your operational facilities or efficiencies at your facilities. So polls section, if you could take a minute and answer those polls, I would greatly appreciate it. And then we cannot put on these type of events without other industry experts and vendors in the space. So our participating companies today are BETCO Inc., Everbrite Coatings, Forge Building Company, and the BSC Group. So again, huge shout out to those respective companies for being here with us today and helping put this on. So first off, I'm going to do a word from each one of our sponsors. And if you want to get more information about these companies and today's speakers, you will be able to do that either in the expo area of this event or in the speakers area where you can connect with other people. So please go ahead and do that. I encourage you that you get connected to each other. So first up is BETCO.
There's multitasking, then there's multi-tasking. When it comes to designing, manufacturing, and installing self-storage buildings, no one beats BETCO. We construct skillfully designed buildings in all shapes and sizes, one custom component at a time. Whatever building component you need, BETCO will provide, all under one roof, including the roof itself. You take care of the slab, and we'll do everything else. Single story, not a problem. Multi-story with climate control, we've got you covered. Turning retail space into boat and RV storage. We're doing it all across the country, leaving thrilled developers in our wake and would-be competitors in the dust. That's because BETCO provides more support, more resources, more solutions. And the options, they're downright unlimited. This isn't our first rodeo, you know. We've been in this business since 1984. Back then, our goal was to be the premier mini storage manufacturer in the industry. But it wasn't long before ambition got the best of us, meaning we began pouring our very best ideas, best talent, resources, and industrial strength energy into something bigger. Being a total solutions provider that delivers everything a self-storage facility owner needs to be successful. We've gained a whole lot of expertise achieving that dream. Even so, we've never slacked off on being the best and never let up on quality, effort, and improvement. Whether challenges call for hard muscle labor or brilliant innovation, nothing stops BETCO. We're meticulous, start to finish. That goes for consulting and planning, drafting and design, manufacturing and technology, building, installing, even eye appeal. And when it's time to expand or renovate, BETCO makes the process simpler and cost-effective. Your potential is limitless. Start living up to it. Work with a proven partner. Choose the company that's up to all the tasks. Go with BETCO.
All right, awesome. Well, from BETCO, I have Brandon with us. Brandon, I don't know that you even need to tell us about BETCO after we watched that amazing video, but go ahead and tell the audience who you are, a little bit about BETCO, and how long you've been in the industry working with BETCO.
Sure. So my name is Brandon Maurer. I'm the Midwest sales rep for BETCO. BETCO manufactures custom self-storage buildings. And as you just watched on the video there, you'll see that we've been around for 36 years. We provide labor. We install our own buildings. We provide in-house engineering. And so I've been with the company for a couple of years now, been in the industry for over 15, and
Cool.
I'm excited to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you and can't wait to talk with you about different items that people can be doing at their facilities. So next up, I have word from the BSC Group.
The BSC Group provides commercial real estate financing advisory solutions with a specialized niche in self-storage assets. Our team has the experience and expertise in the industry to get you the results you desire. We understand each property presents different challenges. Every client brings with them unique situations, and that the financial markets are always changing. The BSC Group team members have completed more than 500 financing transactions valued at over $4 billion for commercial property owners nationwide. Also, the 10-time winner of the Inside Self-Storage Best Finance Broker. To learn more about the BSC Group, please call 1-800-605-7880 or visit www.thebscgroup.com.
Well, awesome. I have Adam from the BSC Group. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Adam, give us your take on the BSC Group and what you do with them, how long you've been in the industry. And I also want to point out that you guys did win ISS 2022 Best Broker. So we need to update that video so we can showcase that. So go ahead, Adam.
Correct, we did. Yeah, so BSC Group is a mortgage brokerage company based out of Chicago. We specialize in self-storage. We do some other asset classes, but the storage industry has been really good to us, have really carved out our niche there. And I've been with the BSC Group for, actually, I think I just celebrated 8 years in September, and it's been awesome. Storage is such a great industry to be in, and we help people finance their facilities in all different situations. So it's been really good, and this is an awesome industry to be in. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for saying all that, and looking forward to talking to you later about how some owners and operators can get some lending to help with some of these projects around their facilities. So thanks, Adam. All right. So next up, we have Everbrite Coatings.
Are the doors at your storage facility faded, oxidized, discolored, and just old looking? Do they leave chalk on your customers' hands and belongings? Are you losing business to your competitors because your doors make your facility look old and outdated? Faded doors are a universal problem in the storage industry. The Everbrite restoration system is the smart choice in door restoration. Everbrite restores your door's original color and luster, making your doors look brand new again. Everbrite is a clear coating and will work on any color door. Everbrite is ready to use with no complicated mixing, no masking or taping off the surrounding surfaces. Everbrite also protects metal buildings, signs, and gates against sun fading, salt air, acid rain, and other damaging elements. At $15 per large door, Everbrite is the economical answer to restoring your faded and oxidized doors, helping you attract new customers and protecting your investment.
Awesome. So from Everbrite, I have Jackie. Jackie, tell us all about you and how long you've been working with Everbrite and what you guys do over there.
So I have been back working with Everbrite for the last 5 years, and I've been building our storage relationships and building our other industrial relationships, helping storage owners restore their buildings and their doors, and then also building a contractor network for people who don't want to do the work themselves. We have a nationwide network of contractors now who can do the work for them.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for letting us know that. And your product's one of my favorite products out there. I love how you can just revitalize an entire facility by putting this coating on the doors. So we'll talk about that a little bit here as we go along. So up next, and then but not least, is Forge Building Companies. Awesome. Hey, Scotty.
Hi there.
How are you doing today?
Today's a wonderful day. Yeah, let's build some storage.
Right? Any day that ends in Y is a good day, right?
Exactly.
Well, Scotty, tell us a little about you, what you do for Forge and what Forge does for the industry.
Well, my name is Scotty Sundin, and I'm with Forge Building Company. I am the business management director. I have about 25 years of experience in the self-storage industry. Started on the door side and been through the metal building side a few times. I've been working with Forge now for 2.5 years, so looking forward to continuing that relationship in the industry. We predominantly started in the Pacific Northwest, as we're based out of Boise, Idaho. Build multi-story, single-story, RV carports and canopies, enclosed RV parking. We built over 200 million square feet of storage since incorporating in 2007. And we're nationwide as well as in Canada.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that overview. So we're going to jump in. I'm going to add all of the speakers back into the broadcast. All right. Everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just want to kick this off by starting to say that, we all know a well-maintained self-storage facility is going to help attract new tenants, keep our current tenants. It's going to increase the valuation of the property in case we want to sell. I mean, there's a lot of good reasons why we should be doing continual maintenance and then certain projects, CapEx projects, renovation projects, etc. So that's going to set the tone for today. So first, Brandon, I'm going to start with you. And I get this call a lot from owners and operators if they're looking for some assistance with their unit mix or even remixing their unit mix. And what I mean by that is they maybe, they consistently have seen over the past couple months, their 5x10s are just not moving. They're discounting them for whatever reasons. 5x10s are not needed in this market. Talk us through what they can do in that instance to remix their current unit mix layout and how maybe a company like BETCO can come in and consult and help them do that.
Sure. Yeah. So your unit mix is so important. And when we get started as new developers in ground up construction, such an emphasis is placed on your unit mix and you can decide on that unit mix through feasibility studies, through your own personal research, suggestions, and advisement through your self-storage builder. But markets evolve, markets change. And when that happens, a unit remix might be something that you can benefit from. Maybe it is smaller units, like you had mentioned, that are not moving. Maybe it's larger units. Maybe you have 10 by 20s or 10 by 30s where you can collect, $150, $175. But when we do a unit remix, we can turn a larger unit into several smaller units that are performing well in your specific market. And so, my recommendation would be to reach out to your building provider. BETCO does unit remixes all the time. Most building systems are designed in a way where partitions can be moved. If you are the owner of a conversion, obviously it makes unit remixes much, much easier. But reach out to your building provider and find out what they offer as far as unit remixes and what they can help, how they can help you maximize your rentable square footage, maximize your rent per square foot.
Awesome response to that. And let me ask you one other question as it relates to that. So you said removing partitions is, if I do a unit remix, how intrusive of a process is this, where if I'm an owner operator, do I have to be closed while this is going on? Can this be going on while tenants are on the property coming in and out of, maybe an adjacent unit? Like, talk me through that a little bit.
Sure, it can be very, it's not intrusive as much as you would think it is. Most developers use it or take advantage of a unit remix when there's unit turnover. But when you've got several empty units, you're not going to be intrusive. You're not going to be in the way of your tenants as much as you think you would. It's a very smooth process.
That's good to know, and I think that's a critical piece. Anyone else have anything they want to add on specifically unit mix and how important unit mix is? Good. I think we covered it good. Adam, you good?
Yeah.
I think you're going to say something. Okay.
No, I just came off of mute. No, nothing to add. Good.
Awesome. I'll direct this next one to Scott. So let's talk about roofing a little bit and how critical roofing is. Obviously, we don't want a leaky roof, right? A leaky roof is going to leak over onto tenants, goods possibly, and then we've got tenant insurance claims that we're potentially facing as an owner. So talk to me specifically about the re-roofing process and what that means.
Jessica, there's never a problem with the roof. Are you kidding me? This is not an industry problem. Well, we put the roof down thinking that, the roof is going to last forever. Well, guess what, folks? It really doesn't. It's probably one of the most maintained part of the property that you'll ever have to put money back into, keeping it up so that you're not leaking water into people's units. Mm-hmm. In the self-storage industry, there's several different products that are being used out there. There's TPO roofs, which are built-up roofing membrane systems on top of flat roofs. There's standing seam roofs, which is predominantly what metal building providers provide in single-story and also in multi-story. So those roofs tend to last a little bit longer, but again, a roof's probably about a 20-year scenario at the max. So you want to be aware that there's going to be some maintenance on this thing. In a re-roof scenario, if you're going to put standing seam roof down, and you can put it right on top of standing seam roof, we put a hat channel down in place and separate that at about every 5 foot, and then snap in the new roofing system on top of that. Put new gutters up, put new end caps on the other side of where gutters aren't required. If you have a membrane system roof, built up or TPO, that type of roofing system. Those also have about a 20-year lifespan. Some of those can be overlaid with the new membrane system right on top of what's there. It really depends on what that looks like at the point of going and having it inspected in that area. So there's several different roofing systems, several different building types. They're not all metal buildings. So, realistically, it's good to reach out to possibly a local roofing company. If it's a built-up roofing system, if it's a metal roof system and we can overlay it, you can reach out to the metal building companies, and you can supply. At least they can give you advice on the direction that you should be going in order to solve the problems.
Yeah, well, thank you for that response. And same as I asked Brandon about the unit remix and that being an intrusive process, how about this one? Do I need to be shut down while this is going on? Or again, is it safe for a tenant to be on property gathering their things out of a unit while this is going on?
Well, as in anything that you do on your property, you want to probably send out a letter to your clients and just stating that, we're doing some improvements on the property. We expect it to go from this time to this time, so that they're aware. Because if we are bringing roofing products, especially metal roof, to a property, they're usually a pretty long piece of material, and we have to get that up on the roof. So there will be a little bit of inconvenience while we're doing this, but it's not anything that can't be worked around, especially if you're notifying your clients.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I love that suggestion. I think anytime you have like major stuff going on at the facility, you should send out some sort of notification to the tenants so they are aware. Because the last thing we want is a disgruntled tenant or a tenant that gets so disgruntled that they end up moving out, right? We don't want that.
And then after your new roof gets put on, guess what? You probably get to raise your rents, right? It's not leaking anymore.
And we're going to talk about the importance of raising rents and what all that can mean as far as this topic is. So yeah, it is a critical piece. And you can justify it when you say you're making improvements, right? Mm-hmm. All right. This one is both for Brandon and Jackie. I will start with Brandon first. So storage doors, they're a big thing, right? The last thing a tenant wants is a storage door that is rusted. It's not opening properly. That can even lead to like potential safety issues, right? If it's not opening properly and it slams down on them, they could catch a foot in it, or things like this happen. It sounds crazy to even say it, but this happens all the time. So talk to me about the importance of, replacing storage doors, when that right time would be to do that. Or even I think you talked about a process when we were doing this call about like reskinning the door. And I don't even know what that is. So I would love to learn from you about just how we should tackle our doors.
Sure. Well, doors are everything when it comes to your facility, obviously from a security perspective, but your doors tell a story about who you are as a facility, who you are as an owner. And I'm sure Jackie can speak to how your doors can tell that story by the way that they look. But when it comes to door performance, each roll-up door should open and close with ease. And you have dents and dings, and those are common signs of wear on a door. But at the end of the day, if it fails to function properly, it may be time to replace that door. And so many people think that replacing doors on the facility is this daunting task, but it brings great value to your facility. If you take time to replace your doors, you are obviously giving yourself the opportunity to raise your rental rates. Your commercial insurance can go down. These types of projects where we're replacing your door can possibly pay for themselves in a matter of months. And so, I encourage everyone to evaluate, what story their doors tell about their facility.
Yeah, I love that. And then Jackie can add in this color story to the doors, right? I always used to joke with Jackie, there's a facility, it's now been purchased and they're doing a lot of good things there. But prior to the purchase, and it's like a quarter mile from my house, I would drive by this facility daily. And it had so many different shades of green doors that you could have almost thought that it was done intentionally to create like an ombre effect, like lightest to dark, darkest to, but that I know that's not what they were doing there, right? Like they clearly just had not enhanced their doors or painted their doors in a long time. So Jackie, talk to us about restoring the luster to storage doors and how your products can do that for owners and operators.
So first of all, would you ever rent from that place, seeing their doors and seeing how? No, you wouldn't. Exactly. So it is important for places to have nice looking doors, because the doors are, like Brandon was saying, they're the most identifiable in this industry. They're what's identifiable about self-storage. That's how people know that it's a self-storage facility, is because of those doors. And I love that, Brandon, telling, your doors tell a story. So when your doors are faded and oxidized, they're very much, you're telling a story about your facility and how the rest of your facility is, including your leaky roofs. So the process for Everbrite is really kind of first to evaluate the door, because if it is too bad, if your mechanics don't work, if you're locked, if it's completely rusted out, anything like that, you definitely want to replace your doors, because you don't want your doors to become a liability. You don't want, with the rusted through, you can't fix that. No matter how much paint you put on it, like they say, you can't put lipstick on a pig. If you have bad doors, you have to replace them. But a lot of people just have faded and oxidized doors, and they're not bad doors. They're still good doors. Even if they're 20, 30, 40 years old, they can, if they're well maintained, they can still be good doors. They just need to have a little refresher. So the Everbrite process is cleaning the doors and then restoring them with Everbrite and making them look brand new again.
Now, Jackie, is your process something like that I could go do if I had your products? Do you think I would be able to like tackle a door from the cleaning to putting the Everbrite coating on, or do I need to hire like a contractor to do this for me?
So either way, we have certain, if you have a maintenance person specifically who can go out there and tackle this project, the work is not difficult work to do. It is a lot of elbow grease to get those doors clean enough to where you're going to have good adhesion. And whether you're painting or whether you're Everbriting, same thing. You have to prep the doors properly. So to have someone who's dedicated to get out there and make them look great, you absolutely can do it yourself. I had someone this summer who hired her local high school's hockey team. Whole hockey team came out, cleaned all the doors. She had, I think, some like her manager actually do the spraying of the Everbrite. Done and done. Great. But there's a lot of people who don't want to do it themselves. They don't want, a lot of storage owners are, to be honest, older because they have the funds to be able to do, to be able to purchase and invest in self-storage. Mm-hmm. And so they don't want to go out there. They don't want to be the ones doing it. A lot of managers don't want to go out and scrub doors. I can't tell you how many, we send out a starter kit and somebody has their manager try it out, and the manager's like, I don't want to do this on all these doors. So they do a really bad job. So we do have a nationwide network of contractors who can come out, give you an evaluation, give you a bid to do the doors, come out, get it done. I know our contractors get it done so quickly. So there really is no interruption of day-to-day business. If they're cleaning the doors, somebody comes by and needs to get in the unit, they just move to the side, go to a different unit. Or when they're spraying, it's maximum 20 minutes that they need to wait to get in their unit. But that's it. So we don't even recommend that people send out letters to their customers to let them know that they're doing it, because the inconvenience is so minor and likely not to happen within just a few days stretch that it's getting done. So.
Yeah, and we were on a previous call, and if I'm remembering correctly, and I want to point this out, because for me, like I would have thought like part of the prepping process would be to like pressure wash the door, but it's not, right? You don't want people doing that at all. Talk
No,
me through
because
that.
when you're pressure washing, it's high pressure water. That spray goes straight out and it goes through the sides of the doors, or it goes up and it gets
Right.
into units. So I have heard of people being successful with it. I'm not quite sure, what their process is. Our process is more manual. Is we have some prep pads that do a wonderful job at taking off all the chalk and oxidation and dirt and grit and grime, and then leaving a clean surface. The other thing about pressure washing, it gets off all the dirt and grit and grime, but it won't take off oxidation.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you have to get the oxidation off so that you get down to the base of the paint. The oxidation is actually the paint breaking down from the sun. And so you have to get to the base of the paint. And then once you put the Everbrite on, it just brings back that original color. It pops. It's really shiny. It's beautiful. So
That's awesome. Awesome. And quick reminder for the audience, if you can take a moment and answer those polls for us, that would be very appreciated. And if you do have questions for anyone on the group or about anything that we're discussing, please enter your questions into the comment section. So I'm going to take a break from my like maintenance people side of the call, and I'm going to go over to my banking lender financing guy, Adam. So Adam, I love this comment that you made when we were talking through this planning this session. You said, okay, so for an owner, right, there's probably, especially one that maybe is like looking to buy a distressed property to create some value add and go in and change the operations and give that all new curb appeal. There's a lot of like different things that they could do, right? So they're probably trying to figure out like, which one of these do I do first? So you made this comment, you want to make sure that the value creation of whatever that project is surpassing the cost. Just break that down to me, what you meant by that comment and statement.
Yeah. And I think before I start, I think that was actually originally Jackie. Jackie brought that up and I sort of added onto it.
Okay. Well,
So
I'm misquoted. Well, Jackie,
that's
Jackie. Well, you two can talk about this in tandem. So sorry I misquoted, but I knew somebody said it.
It's all good. But I thought it was such a good point because we see this a lot where if you think about it on the most simple, if you add something to your facility, if you add security, if you add new doors, you add new signage, you pave your facility, update your gate, the list goes on. The cost of that, is you can have an idea of what that costs based on if you call a contractor and they tell you this is what it'll cost to do that upgrade. But a lot of times that will have more value creation than the cost, and its payback period is pretty quick. And so if you upgrade, for example, your doors, and all of a sudden your facility looks nicer, people are driving by, you're not driving by that facility in your neighborhood going, what is up with all those crazy colored green doors? You're going, wow, look how uniform and beautiful that looks. Tenants that you would pass a rent increase on. And then in my world, if we're trying to get your deal financed, there's value creation there that's pretty significant. And so financing a facility that is looking better than it did 6 months ago because you put some money in the facility, it's easier. It makes my job easier financing your facility. And then I'll take that from one other standpoint, which is with what's going on in the supply chain right now, right? So if you are able to, and you're not time crunched, and you're able to lock down a project and get new doors on your facility, and you're thinking about selling in some somewhat near-term horizon, if you get that project done, the next person you can point out to that person, or your sales broker could point out to that person, well, all these doors are new. They've been put on. You don't have to go through the process of waiting for 8 months, like my wife and I waited for our couch in our house. I don't know what the wait time is, but you have created that value already, and that's significant, and that's something that is recognized when you're valuing a facility. And so to just sort of sum it up, if you put money into your facility to improve the facility in any area, many times as the owner, that value creation, that added value that you're going to have, whether it's higher rents, lower maintenance expense, kind of across the board, lower insurance costs, I think Brandon brought that up, is oftentimes way greater than the cost. And so that's a really good thing to do as an owner. And again, it helps my job when I'm financing your facility if it looks better.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a level of like risk management assistance here if you're doing obviously upgrades, right? And all of that can, like Brandon said, lead into potential lower, insurance premiums, which is all things that need to be evaluated and evaluated often. So let's talk a little bit about setting aside some owners set aside reserve funds to kind of take on some of these projects. Some don't do that and then are surprised if like damage happens to the property. So I can go around the entire group and just let's talk about a little bit of how like we should budget for this. Again, maybe, and Adam, you can go into some of the different financing options there are for people refinancing and maybe pulling some cash. So let's get into the like, where do I get the money to do all of this talk?
Sure, I can start. I would just say that we've financed a lot of facilities where there's some level of CapEx, and it can be as small as $5,000, $10,000, and it can be as great as, it can be millions of dollars, it can be, or hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on who you are financing your deal with, if it's a local bank, a regional bank that you already have your financing with, that may be a simple conversation with your banker. Hey, I'd like to, I have 250 units. I'd like to replace 25 of my doors. 25 of them are sort of shot and need an upgrade. Your banker may say, hey, we know the value of your facility. We got an appraisal done on this deal when we financed it, when you purchased it, built it, whatever it is. Yeah, we can give you a line of credit, or we can, release some funds for you to do those upgrades because you're still, you're paying interest on those new dollars if it's part of your existing loan. But yeah, we can take a look at that. If you're acquiring a facility and you find that there's a fair amount of CapEx, or the difference between immediate repairs and sort of short-term or long-term repairs, and you find that there's a good amount of work that you want to do, depending on how much leverage you want to use. And just to give a quick example of leverage, if your facility is worth $1 million and you have a $500,000 loan on that, that's 50% leverage. That's considered pretty low leverage in the loan world. If you have $1 million facility and you have a $750,000 loan, that's 75% leverage. So depending on your leverage, there may be some room in the loan dollars to say, we can put $50,000 into a CapEx, reserve, some sort of escrow account that as you complete the work, as you prove or provide receipts and money that needs to get paid to your contractors, we can release those funds to help with that CapEx. And most of the time, I would say there are very few lenders in the universe of lenders that would say, no, we don't want your facility to look nicer. No, we don't want you to improve our collateral. And so, it's a conversation that's worth having if you have those things you're thinking about, and that can be on the refinance side or the acquisition side. So I hope I didn't go too all over the place on that, but it's a really good point. And some people don't realize you can just potentially roll that into the financing of your facility, depending on what you're trying to do.
And that was my point on that planning call, Jess, was that I've been getting calls from either smaller portfolio owners who are buying a new facility, and they'll call me as they go into contract, as they're doing their due diligence, and they'll ask me, what's the cost? Let me get an estimate for how much it is to do this so I can build it into my CapEx budget. So that way, when they're financing, they're rolling it, they're getting it ready. So as soon as they close on the property, they get the Everbrite done, they restore the property, they can raise the rents and not be the jerk to just raise the rents for no reason because he bought the property, but he's actually making improvements as he comes in so that they can, but it's already built into the price. They're ready for it. So that's what I suggest. Is get a quote for anything, whether you're going to replace doors or whether you're going to Everbrite them or paint your whole facility to rebrand. Get those quotes. Even if you don't move forward or something it falls through, at least you know what it's going to be. And then going back to your budgeting, even if you're not building it into something like CapEx and you own your facility and you know that you're going to want to make upgrades, get that quote, get that estimate from your contractors or from whoever. And that way you can budget a piece of that per month in next year, for however many months, and next year you can get it done because you've been budgeting that money, you've been saving that money. So.
Awesome. Brandon, Scotty, anything you want to add to this topic?
Yeah, we see a lot of developers add a new segment of storage that, maybe they bought the facility and, the facility doesn't have boat and RV, or maybe it's a non-climate control facility and they want to add climate control. These are new segments of storage that they want to offer, that they're, like Jackie said, budgeting for, expanding, in 12, 18 months. So we see that a lot.
Yes, Scotty, same thing.
Yeah. Well, there's one topic that we haven't really talked about is that the interior hallway systems in a lot of these storages, in the first generation and second generation developments, they're made out of wood. And, upgrading your hallway system so they're bright and white and beautiful, it can be done with metal, and it can be done pretty quickly as well. So, that's something else to consider. It's not just your exterior, but it's your interior, because that's where, people walk into these things. They want it to be bright. They want it to be light. They want it to feel secure and clean. So that's another part of that CapEx program.
Yeah, that's good. Has anyone, we don't have a cost segregation person on this call today, but there are instances where people will utilize the tax savings through a cost segregation study and then kind of roll that money that they saved and got back in a payout into future CapEx projects of the facility. Anybody worked with anyone that's done anything with that, with having a cost segregation study done, or talked to owners that have had that done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of that, and I think that's a great move to look into it. If you ultimately decide not to do a cost segregation study, that's fine. You have your reasons for doing it or not, but I think it's definitely worth, if you're listening to this call and you're someone who's going to a trade show, go introduce yourself to one of the cost segregation people. They're always at the trade show, and they can inform you on the process, because I think we've heard of a lot of owners who really benefit from the cost segregation, and I don't think I've ever really heard any bad feedback on cost segregation. And then, Jess, one thing I wanted to actually add about what we were just talking about, because I think this is important in my world and someone's, who's trying to finance their facility. In addition to being able to have dollars attributed or bucketed for CapEx improvements, what have you, in a future financing package. So if you're acquiring or if you want to refinance, if you've already done some of those things since you bought your facility with cash, you going back to that value creation, your facility's probably, especially if you're increasing revenue, increasing rents as you do that, your facility's probably worth more than it was. And so if you're someone who's sitting in the audience going, man, should I not have done these improvements out of cash? Should I not have done this, myself out of cash in the facility? You're not wrong to have done that. And you might be able to take advantage of recapturing some of your equity, doing a cash out refi, pulling some of the equity out to put the money back in your pocket for those improvements you've made if you've already done them. So there's an ability to do it in the future if you have a facility you're buying or refinancing, but then there's also being able to recapture if you've been one of those people who's done that. And we heard of a lot of people doing that kind of stuff during COVID, right? If you were someone who, instead of sitting at my house the whole time, I can go to my storage facility where I'm not going to potentially contract COVID. I can go get some contractors on site, do some work on the facility. And we heard a lot of that during the pandemic and during that period where people were making improvements to their facilities. So that's one other note I wanted to make.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point too. And I'm glad that you brought that up. So we've talked a lot about like the actual unit area of the facility, but let's talk about the office a little bit. That's a critical component, right? I mean, that's the first impression. And sometimes it could be something as easy as maybe a fresh coat of paint in the office or changing out old furniture. If the tenant wants to sit down and sign their lease and you got like a rackety old office chair. So those are some elements to think about. Anybody want to add into that? And even as it relates to like the retail section, making sure all of that is nice and fresh and clean and also inviting.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with saying that that's your first impression. I mean, your exterior is one of them, but if you walk into a storage facility with a dated interior office that's smoky, smelly, browns and different colors that are just not adequate, obviously that gives a very bad impression to the client. Safety and security is the first thing and foremost in self-storage. So bringing your office up to date with new furniture, new casings, new even countertops if you have old stuff. Even a full remodel is if you want to make a good impression, that's the place to do it. Your restroom areas as well, being brightly lit, good smelling, so that people have a good experience all the way through. So it's critical.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you talked security there in your response. So I'm going to segue this over to Brandon. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about security. I mean, security is a big piece of this, right? I mean, tenants most likely will not rent from a facility where they don't feel that their items are going to be safe. So there's lots of stuff, gate access, cameras, motion detectors, good lighting. And even now there's products out there where you can literally, automatically enter into your unit with a specialized key. And I know you're partnered in over with Janice and the Noki group. Talk to us a little bit about automatic doors and the locking process, how they get in, the overlocking process for the owners. Because that's, I think, always like the biggest thing I hear from owners. They're like, how am I going to overlock this thing if there's not like a physical, like old school, disc lock on it?
Right. And with Noki, and if you're not familiar with Noki, I encourage you to Google Noke, Noki, to learn more about it. But you mentioned the overlocking system. It's completely automatic with Noki Smart Entry. Noki Smart Entry is a smart lock. Where there are tons of smart items nowadays, and when it comes to self storage, the Noki Smart Entry is the tech savvy smart item. It's a smart lock that's Bluetooth connectivity with your phone. For developers, it's easy retrofittable onto your existing buildings. It's going to secure all your units, whether they're vacant or they're not. There's no need anymore for locks or hasps. Those are all gone. And you get an opportunity to really upsell when you have Noki on your doors as a premium feature. And from a customer perspective, you can enter your unit with your phone. You can enter the facility with your phone. You can view any activity as it relates to your unit on your phone. You can share a digital key with a friend or family member for a certain amount of time. So if you have a friend or family that needs to get into your unit, you can grant them access for an hour, for an afternoon, for a day. There's no more keys. There's no more codes. And it fully automates the move in and move out process. So when it comes to accountability with your site managers on what their workload is, it brings accountability and efficiency. And you're not selling tenants just space. You're selling them security. They can store their assets in a shed out back or in their garage. They want to know that their assets are secure and that they're safe. And they want to be able to have access to that unit, in their own way, especially with the generation that is starting to rent more and more storage units. They want to be able to access their unit with a click of a button, and Noki Smart Entry is how they do it.
That's awesome. So we have, for the audience, we do have a private chat feature for the people that are presenting. And Jackie just had an aha moment. And honestly, Jackie, your aha moment created one for me too, and I'm quite embarrassed. So Brandon, does Noke, N-O-K-E, it means like no key, right?
No key.
So I've been in this industry, like I said, for 5 years. And that's the first time I put that together. When you spelled it, I had this like mind-blowing moment.
I did too. When she added it, I was like,
that's why I'm giggling, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. It's no key.
I didn't know that either. And I talk to this group just about once a week. So I'm going to make a meme. I was 41 years old today when I learned that no key meant no
years
key.
Old.
Yeah.
The gravy. Well, we learned something new.
That's hilarious.
I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask some questions. Audience, if you have any questions, if you're considering doing upgrades at your facility and don't know where to start, this is the group to ask while we have them live. We have about 8 minutes left. I mean, I'll keep asking them some of my questions, but we really want to hear from you. That's why we do these webinars, so we can get connected with you and help you learn more about the industry. So, Scott, I'll take this over to you until we get a question from the audience. Audience, you're sleeping today. Answer those polls and ask those questions. That's all I ask of you every time we do this. But Scotty, RV and boat storage is becoming bigger and bigger. I think COVID really was a driver in that too, right? Because people couldn't afford housing in some scenarios, or they sold their housing because the market was so crazy with house prices. And they kind of got out while they could and made the most. And now they're living in campers and traveling the world. But, there's places where they need to put these cars, boats, RVs. So if they have, a larger parking area, is it something easy where they could toss up, some canopies to create additional storage opportunities, or do they need to go into like the full RV and boat building? Talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, Jessica, that's you have good points there. It seemed like as I was growing up, RV was something that you could put at your house. Well, guess what, folks? Nowadays you can't. HOAs have turned that opportunity into a non-opportunity option for you. So yeah, you in the RV industry, or in the storage industry, the RV rental space has increased probably 100-fold in the last 5 years. It used to be something that I rarely spoke about, and there was just uncovered RV parking out there. And nowadays, look at these coaches that these people are owning. They're $150,000 to $1 million coaches. Guess what? They want to put it in a shady spot or in an enclosed building. So, if you have existing space at your site that you're storing cars at right now that are just uncovered, well, guess what? First of all, I'd probably go to self-storage. But second of all, you could do the RV storage. You can put up a canopy, about $15 a square foot for canopy canopies. Angle canopy parkings allows you to have smaller drive aisles, and then your enclosed RV buildings, probably in the 20 square foot for those big coaches or the boats that you don't want in the sun. So it's big business right now. We're doing several hundred jobs that are just RV covered canopy with a mix of enclosed. And then with the Lux Locker Group, guess what? They are fully enclosed with 3 levels of climate control, non-climate control, climate control, with water and sewer dumps. So it's big business. It's big money. If you have opportunity to do it, that's definitely an avenue that you want to look into.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. And there's lots of providers out there. I mean, there's even now Toy Storage Nation that is traveling across the United States, teaching people about this potential in the market. So something to definitely take a look at if you have the space. Adam, I'm going to ask you this question because I've gotten this question before from an owner. In the mortgage underwriting process and lending process, is a lender going to look at the site plan and what type of facility? Does that have an impact on it, whether I'm doing just a flat drive-up facility versus a multi-level facility, or even if I'm adding in elements like Scotty was talking about, boat and RV, or in other instances, portable units? Brandon's group over at Janus, they've got the mass product. Does that impact the lending process in a certain way or not?
Sure. Yeah, I think it does. We have finance facilities that are the brand new fortress type drive-in multi-story climate controlled facilities. We've financed the drive up, more first generation stuff. It does, and it certainly is not the only factor a lender considers. But, if you're if you're trying to acquire a facility, for example, in a predominantly climate controlled, everything's brand new around you, and you're trying to acquire an older non-climate, first generation facility, a lender may say, hey, it's a little riskier for us as a lender because everyone else is a newer facility. We might take the leverage down a little bit. I would say in general, it doesn't prevent you from getting financing. You just have to be thoughtful about what you're doing. Now, if you're refinancing a facility that you have that is a first generation facility, we always say cash flow is sort of the king. So, if your facility needs some upgrades, and that's very relevant for this, topic, you might have that discussion with your lender, and they say, hey, if your facility is unpaved, we think institutional facilities should be paved, and all the facilities in your area are paved. Well, it just so happens that, again, low leverage, you have the ability to reserve some money to pave this facility. That lender can help you do that, put that into action, and that can be accomplished. There are just a quick minute on, there are items that a lender would say you need to do these, and that's based on engineering report. I think we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Is an engineer may come in and say, hey, these are life safety issues. You have to do this. This is an ADA issue, or this is something that absolutely needs to be addressed. Your parking lot has potentially safety issue, things like that. And then there are the ones you opt to do, where you decide this is an upgrade I want to make. So a lender will take a look at the things that need to be done, the upgrades that need to be done to sort of bring your facility to a standard that they want to lend on. But it's not, we aren't routinely seeing lenders saying, hey, we can't finance this facility because it's this type of facility.
Gotcha.
But then boat and RV storage, you alluded to this. It's a newer thing in sort of an ancillary part of our industry. It's related to storage, and we're finding more and more lenders that we talk to that are excited about lending on boat and RV storage. And Sean Hill, my colleague at the BSC Group, always says boat and RV storage is where self-storage was, just about the time we were founding the BSC Group in 2009, where it was, there's a lot of potential and people were seeing, wow, this is a great space, but not everyone understands it yet, but it's getting there, and it's a real cash cow business. And so that's exciting that there's more lenders that are looking towards boat and RV storage and understanding that can be a really good property to lend on.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time for today, guys. Thank you all so much for all of your great input. Sorry that my audience was quiet. Audience, if you're going to attend these, make these worth it and ask questions and answer the polls. That's all I'm going to say to you. Mother SBOA is preaching. Someone called me that the other day. Mother SBOA. I'm like, I've been.
You were just so engaging, Jess. We were just mesmerized by what we had to say.
I'm wondering, is that an expletive, like Mother SBOA?
I'll use it that way for sure, right? And then I just want to point out before we do wrap up, because a lot of these groups, Adam and I were talking before we started, and I'm sure Forge and BETCO and Jackie's group at Everbrite, there's a lot of industry shows coming up. This weekend, I'm leaving on Sunday to be at the Georgia, South Carolina, Southeastern show. The Texas show is coming up at the end of October. November, there's one in Florida. I mean, they're all over. So I would highly encourage the audience, whatever state you're in, check out your state level SSA, see if they have an upcoming fall show. We are in trade show season. And it's really good for you guys to go out there and network with fellow owner operators and get to know this industry and get the education that you all deserve. Encourage you to join your state level SSA. And if you want to take it up a different level, please join the national SSA. There's 2 large national shows each year, one in the spring, one in the fall. It's always great to come to those as well. We will be back in 2 weeks on, I don't know what date that is, October 20th, for another one of our Self-Storage Unlocked. It will be me and some colleagues teaching owners and operators how to effectively execute social media marketing. Huge passion of mine. Anybody else have any closing thoughts or comments? Where will you be? Will you be anywhere soon?
We will be in Texas.
Cool.
See you there, Jackie.
Sounds
Yep,
awesome.
we'll be on the Texas show as well. So
Yeah,
I'll be in North Carolina and Wisconsin and Texas.
Cool. Awesome. Well, audience, we hope that you, if you're in one of those states, will be able to attend. If you haven't met us in person and we're at that show, please stop by and say hi to us so we can get to know you better. And again, we'll be back in 2 weeks, same time, Thursdays, always from 2 to 3 for Self-Storage Unlocked, talking about social media marketing. And then we have a big event coming up on Thursday, October 27th. It is the SBOA Technology Summit. We are gathering all of our favorite tech providers in the space. It's a 5 or 6 hour event that day. It's all virtual, where they're going to be doing demos, and they're going to have owners and operators with them that are using their services to tell you more about why these services are good for your facilities, how it's helped their operations, how it's helped them reduce cost, how it's helped them save money and increase profitability, all the things that you want to be doing to make sure you are running a smooth operation. So see you guys back in 2 weeks. Thank you, my guest speakers, for attending today. It's appreciated. Like I said, can't do these without you guys. Y'all are awesome. Everyone have a good rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you guys back soon. Take care.
Thanks, Jess.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.